Okay, welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into what's top of mind for tech leaders. We're looking at their key priorities for 2025. We've got a great source for this, an article called Top Technology Priorities for 2025, What Every CTO Should Know.
That's right. And our goal here is to, unpack this, dig a bit deeper than just the headlines. We want to pull out the really crucial insights and, well, the strategies you need to understand about where business technology is heading next year.
Yeah, because the article makes it pretty clear. 2025 isn't just about tweaking things or keeping the servers running. It's really about making those big strategic bets that will shape a company's future. Getting it wrong could mean being left behind. The stakes feel quite high.
They really are. It's about using tech for, real competitive advantage, maybe even reinvention, not just efficiency. So, should we jump into the 7 key priorities the article lays out?
Let's do it. First one up, no huge surprise here, is AI and machine learning. But the source emphasizes something important. AI is past the hype stage now. 2025 is about real enterprise-wide impact, tangible ROI.
Exactly. It's moved from maybe to must have in terms of results. The article gives some solid examples too, like retailers seeing customer lifetime value jump, what was it, 20 or 30%?
Wow.
Yeah, using AI for really personalized experiences, or manufacturers cutting downtime by like 40% with predictive maintenance. That's real money.
Okay, those are serious numbers. So what's the strategic shift needed then, according to the source, to get that kind of impact across the whole company?
Well, the main thing is focusing AI efforts on use cases that directly hit business goals, boosting revenue, cutting costs, improving efficiency, that sort of thing. But, and this is crucial, embedding ethics and governance right from the start. The source actually says over 60% of CIOs are reporting to their boards on AI ethics now.
60%.
Yep.
Okay, that really shows it's a board-level concern now, not just IT. And what about the teams? The article mentioned cross-functional teams, right? Getting engineers working directly with the business side.
Absolutely. Capital One embedding engineers in product teams is the example they give. It just speeds everything up, makes the impact more direct. The big mistake, the pitfall the source warns against, is keeping AI in its own little box, not weaving it into how the business actually works. Needs strong data foundations, too.
Right. Integration, not isolation. Makes perfect sense. And speaking of foundations and potential problems, that kind of leads us to the second priority, cybersecurity. The focus here seems to be on zero trust and using AI for defense, because the threats are getting smarter too.
Precisely. The article points out that attacks are increasingly using AI. They're automated, often going after cloud setups. So the big trend for 2025 is this massive shift towards zero trust. They're projecting 70% adoption. That's up from just 35% in 2024.
Whoa, 70%. That's doubling down in just 1 year. What does zero trust by default actually mean for a company day to day?
It basically means you assume you might already be compromised inside your network, so you have to heartily verify every attempt to access anything. Least privilege is key, only give the minimum access needed. And microsegmentation, breaking the network into tiny secure zones. Microsoft's Azure migration is the example used. Implementing zero trust cut their vulnerabilities by something like 80%.
Okay, so lock the doors, but also assume someone might be inside, so check everyone's ID constantly.
Yeah.
How does AI fit into defending this?
AI becomes essential for spotting threats in real time. The sheer volume and speed of attacks now, humans can't keep up alone. The source mentions tools like XDR, extended detection and response, and studies apparently show 70% of companies using it saw big improvements in detection pretty quickly, like within 6 months. And looking further ahead, the article touches on the quantum computing threat, how it could break current encryption, need to start planning that transition.
Got it. So zero trust in AI for now, but keep an eye on quantum for the future. The pitfall here must be sticking with old tools.
Exactly. Relying on legacy security stuff just won't cut it against modern AI-driven attacks.
Okay, moving from securing data to actually using it effectively. Priority 3, data democratization. The idea is getting data to people who need it, but without creating, well, chaos.
Yeah, that's the challenge, isn't it? Everyone knows data is critical, it fuels AI, drives insights. But the source highlights that actually governing it well, only about 15% of organizations have really nailed that. So 2025 is about finding that sweet spot, making data accessible, but keeping it secure, compliant, and under control.
That 15% figure is
Yeah.
sobering.
Yeah.
So how do leaders actually manage that balancing act? What are the strategies?
Well, first step is breaking down those silos. Using modern cloud platforms, think Snowflake, Databricks, to create unified data lakes or lakehouses. PetSmart, using Databricks to get a single view of customers is a good example, drove double-digit growth through better personalization.
Right, getting everything in one place.
And then making it easier for non-tech people to get insights. Low-code or no-code tools are key here. The article mentioned a bank cutting loan approval times by 35% just by giving branch managers self-service data tools.
So it directly speeds up the business. It's about access, but controlled access. You mentioned guardrails.
Exactly, and automating those guardrails is becoming critical. Using policy as code means the rules are enforced automatically by the systems themselves. The big pitfall here, thinking data governance is just an IT issue. It absolutely needs buy-in and collaboration from legal, compliance, the business units, everyone.
Makes sense. It's a company-wide responsibility. Okay, so we have secure, governed, accessible data. Where does it all live and run? That brings us to priority 4, cloud and infrastructure. Subtitle here is Agility Meets Accountability. Feels like most are already using cloud, but maybe not optimally.
That's a good way to put it. Yes, hybrid or multi-cloud is standard now, like 85% adoption. But the source points out cost overruns are a real headache. So FinOps, financial operations for cloud, becomes a major focus, making sure you're getting actual business value for your cloud spend. And alongside that, tackling those old, stubborn legacy systems that hold back agility, modernization is key.
FinOps. I've heard that term more lately. So it's like financial discipline specifically for cloud services, tracking costs, optimizing usage.
Precisely. Key strategies involve continuous monitoring, right-sizing resources, not paying for more than you need, and being really deliberate about modernizing those legacy apps. The Accenture example is quite striking, migrating 200 legacy apps and training staff on new ways of working, like DevOps, all in 6 months. Shows it can be done rapidly. Edge computing also gets a mention for uses needing super low latency, like real-time tracking in warehouses or retail.
6 months for 200 apps plus training. That's ambitious, but impressive. What's the trap people fall into with cloud migration then?
The classic mistake is the lift and shift. Just moving old applications as is to the cloud without rethinking their architecture. You basically just move your problems to a different location. You don't get the real benefits of cloud, scalability, resilience, cost savings, unless you re-architect.
Right, it's like moving all your old furniture into a brand new house without updating any of it. Okay, that naturally leads to the people side. Priority 5, workforce transformation, bridging that skills gap.
Yeah, this one's huge and kind of a paradox, as the source puts it. On one hand, you've got massive skills shortages, 58% of leaders reporting they can't find the talent they need, especially in AI and data. But on the other hand, automation could disrupt maybe up to 40% of current job roles.
Wow. So you need new skills, but existing roles are changing. Sounds tricky.
It is. So the focus has to be on adapting the culture and seriously investing in upskilling and reskilling your current people. It's becoming like an existential need for 2025.
It's not just about the tech. It's ensuring your team can actually use it, adapt with it. So what strategies should leaders focus on here?
Building basic AI literacy across the board is fundamental, maybe through certifications or internal training programs, and really fostering a culture where learning all the time is normal, even expected. The source mentions gamification, rewards for learning, maybe even things like Google's 20% time concept.
Right. Making learning continuous, not a one-off event.
And using gig workers or external talent strategically for those really specialized, hard-to-find skills.
What's the big pitfall here? What do companies often get wrong?
A major one is just assuming their current workforce can't adapt, writing people off too quickly. The source actually makes a strong point that with the right support and training, maybe up to 70% of existing staff can be retrained for new or AI-enhanced roles.
70%. That's huge potential. It really shifts the focus from replacement to development, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Dismissing that potential is a massive missed opportunity.
Okay, looking even further ahead now. Priority number 6, emerging technologies. The next frontier. Quantum, autonomous systems, spatial computing. This sounds a bit sci-fi.
Well, the source argues they're moving out of the lab and onto the strategic roadmap for 2025. Maybe not full deployment everywhere, but time to start planning. So yeah, quantum computing for specific complex problems, autonomous systems, often called AI ops in IT for self-managing, self-healing IT infrastructure, and spatial computing, that's AR and VR for things like immersive training or virtual collaboration.
AI ops, systems fixing themselves. That sounds like a game changer for IT departments drowning in alerts.
That's the promise, yeah. Automating detection and resolution for the vast majority of issues. For quantum, it's about exploring algorithms for optimization tasks. For spatial, it's making remote work more immersive or creating virtual showrooms, that kind of thing.
Okay, so these are definitely on the horizon. What's the advice for leaders? How should they approach these?
The key phrase the article uses is start small. Don't ignore them, but don't bet the entire farm yet either. It's about exploring specific, limited use cases. Maybe partner with startups or universities. Build understanding internally without massive upfront investment. Test and learn.
Start small. Very practical advice for the bleeding edge. Okay, finally, priority number 7 pulls everything together with a broader perspective. Sustainability and ethics, called the new table stakes.
Yes, and this really underlines that tech strategy isn't just internal anymore. External pressures are huge. Regulators, customers, investors, employees, they all expect companies to use technology responsibly. It's becoming fundamental for trust and reputation.
So it's not just nice to have, it's becoming essential for a license to operate.
Absolutely. Key priorities here are things like green IT, making data centers and infrastructure way more energy efficient, and building robust ethical frameworks for AI, especially with regulations like the EU AI Act coming into force. You have to demonstrate responsible development and deployment.
So how do you make that practical? Weaving it into decisions.
That's exactly it. The strategy is to embed these considerations, sustainability, ethics, directly into technology investment choices and project planning from day one. Microsoft's carbon-aware cloud is cited as an example, routing computing tasks to places with more renewable energy available. It's about building trust, ensuring you comply, and frankly, showing leadership.
Okay, wow. So let's recap those 7 priorities from the source for 2025. We had AI and ML delivering real impact, cybersecurity stepping up with zero trust and AI defense, data democratization balanced with strong governance.
Right. Then cloud and infrastructure focusing on FinOps and modernization, workforce transformation bridging that critical skills gap.
Exploring emerging tech by starting small. And finally, embedding sustainability and ethics as fundamental table stakes.
And the article really hammers home the point that these aren't separate things you tick off a list. They're deeply interwoven. You can't do AI well, priority 1, without good data and governance, priority 3, and skilled people, priority 5. And it all needs to run on secure, priority 2, agile infrastructure, priority 4, while being ethical, priority 7, and maybe using new tools, priority 6. It's all connected.
That interconnectedness really leads to the central question the article puts to tech leaders, doesn't it? Are you mainly using technology for sort of incremental gains, cutting costs here, updating that old system there, basic efficiency, or are you building the capabilities to actually redefine your business, maybe even your whole industry?
Yeah, that's the core challenge, and the source is pretty clear on its perspective. The leaders who pull ahead in 2025 and beyond will be the ones who see AI, data, cloud, all of this at catalysts for fundamental reinvention. They're not just optimizing the old ways, they're looking for new revenue streams, building ethics in from the start, and cultivating teams that thrive on change.
So this deep dive really highlighted that shift from tech as an operational tool to tech as a strategic engine for reinvention. We've unpacked those 7 priorities and how they fit together.
And successfully integrating all of these is really what will separate the leaders from the followers. It's about actively shaping the future, not just reacting to it.
Absolutely. And the source leaves us, and leaves you, the listener, with a really potent final thought to mull over, especially given how linked these priorities are. The question isn't really whether you can afford to invest seriously in these areas, it's whether you can afford not to.
A very critical question for every leader thinking about 2025.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Lots to think about there. Keep exploring these ideas.